Tonight on KVR News, a huge donation. Which two colleges will be receiving a hefty sum?
A new program that's helping UT journalists write a little better. I'm Cassandra and I'll have that story coming up.
And riding in style, the new CapMetro buses rolling into town.
You're watching KVR News, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening. You're watching KVR News for Monday, January 27th. I'm Chelsey Pena.
And I'm Taylor Hampton. Thanks for joining us tonight. Big changes could soon be coming to student housing near campus.
Austin City Council proposed last month lowering the limit on the number of non-related residents that can live in one house from 6 to 4. The proposal comes in response to complaints from residents in areas designated as single-family zones in West and North Campus. If the proposal were to pass, it could mean rising prices for student housing.
It's the places that we live that are closest to campus, and for us it's a big issue because, you know, we would like to, as a whole, just be able to afford somewhere near campus that we can actually live.
Student government leaders are hoping to prevent the proposal from passing City Council. SG passed legislation last week in opposition of the proposal. They want some more student voices to be heard by City Council on the proposed ordinances.
Resolution saying, hey, City Council, we don't support this. This isn't good for students. We need to leave it as is. This works. It's good for students.
If you're concerned about the proposal, SG asks that you talk to your City Council representative or neighborhood association.
SG hosted President Powers at their weekly assembly meeting Tuesday. Powers gave a speech that addressed the role of student voices on campus. He also answered questions from representatives about tuition, undergraduate research, and changes at UT's curriculum.
Why did a lot of people my age get interested in engineering or astronomy or chemistry or whatever? And they worked on
the speech comes after was recently under review by the UT Systems Board of Regents over concerns about its goals for UT. Councils passed two joint resolutions, JR 1 and 2, supporting Powers' vision for the university. SJ President Horacio Villarreal says the legislation was intended to let Powers know he has the full support of the student body.
People probably could have seen from when he spoke to student government, he loves the work that comes out of here. He's incredibly appreciative of the hard work that students put in, and the fact that JR 1 and JR 2, both kind of concerning him, he was really, really happy to see that the students really stood up for him.
This Saturday will mark 8 years since Powers took office as university president.
Texas Governor Rick Perry has appealed FEMA's denial of assistance for Central Texans affected by last year's Halloween flash flooding. In an open letter to President Obama, Perry appealed the denial of individual assistance for residents affected by the historic floods. In the letter, Perry says, the communities affected are in desperate need of significant resources beyond local, regional, and state capabilities. He goes on to say, the inability of the hardest hit survivors to receive assistance under the denied programs will seriously impair the ability of those survivors to recover. The state, the local jurisdictions, and the private sector and many organizations continue to support these areas to the best of their abilities. Assistance is still needed. More than 12 inches of rain fell in the parts of Central Texas, resulting in major flash flooding across the area. And Texas is often eyed for its education policy, and the state is now being criticized for potentially watering down its educational standards. The criticism comes after the State Board of Education voted to remove Algebra 2 as a prerequisite for high school graduation. Supporters say fewer course mandates students more time to focus on vocational training for jobs that don't necessarily require knowledge in algebra or a college degree. But UT Clinical Professor of Mathematics Dr. Mark Daniels believes by cutting the mandate, students aren't being adequately prepared for life after high school.
That we create we are at least striving to create students who are Renaissance men and women who really know a lot of different things about the world around them. And by cutting curriculum, I'm just not sure we're doing that.
A Maryland mall has reopened its doors today just 2 days after a deadly shooting. Police say 19-year-old Darian Marcus Aguilar shot 2 employees inside a skateboard and apparel store in the mall in Columbia before shooting himself. The victims have been identified as 21-year-old Brianna Benlolo and 25-year-old Tyler Johnson. 5 others were injured but have all been released from the hospital with minor injuries. Police are questioning whether Aguilar knew the victims prior to the shooting. The motive is also currently being investigated. Meanwhile, authorities in South Carolina are also investigating a shooting on the campus of South Carolina State University that left a school football player dead. 20-year-old Brandon Robinson was a linebacker and defensive end for the Bulldogs. He was shot outside a dorm Friday after an argument with suspect Justin Singleton. The 19-year-old has been charged with murder following an arrest early Saturday morning. South Carolina State was the site of a previous shooting back in 2011, in which 1 student was killed.
The Winter Olympics are now less than 2 weeks away, and security at the Games remains a hot topic. The Games in Sochi, Russia have been the target of multiple terroristic threats. Possible attacks were once again mentioned in a video released by an ally of al-Qaeda. Friday, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel has announced the U.S. will extract its citizens from the area if necessary. More than 10,000 American athletes and spectators are expected to attend the Games. American athletes have also been advised not to wear U.S. uniforms outside the Olympic arenas for their own safety. The U.S. team of 230 athletes is the largest delegation any nation has sent to the Winter Olympics.
A UT graduate has pledged $60 million to the university. Jim Mulva established the Mulva Family Foundation, which will now benefit the Macomb School of Business and the Cockrell School of Engineering. The money will go toward building the new Engineering Education and Research Center, as well as the future restoration of 2 Macomb School buildings. The donation brings UT's campaign for $3 billion in donations one step closer. The total donated to the university now stands at $2.7 billion.
Still to come on KVR News, it's up to us, the campaign to raise awareness of the national debt.
And big changes at CapMetro. The details to know right ahead.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. Austinites now have a new way of getting around town. Capital Metro's newest service, Metro Rapid, launched yesterday. The 60-foot-long buses will replace routes along Lamar, Guadalupe, and South Congress. CapMetro says it's all to ensure a quicker transit time. If you've walked up and down Guadalupe, you may have noticed something different. Different in the form of a 60-foot, 3-door bus that is Capital Metro's newest project, Metro Rapid. The new service that officially launched Sunday features a series of sleek buses that were created to better public transportation in the downtown area. Capital Metro CEO Linda Watson describes the bus as a new type of transportation that will speed up transit times and increase ridership with all of its modern features.
This bus is smart. If it's running behind schedule, it can talk to a signal light and keep it green so the bus and any lucky cars around it can zip through the green light. On Guadalupe and Lavaca in the downtown area, it will have priority lanes for buses only.
The bus will make stops along Lamar, Guadalupe, and South Congress in the hopes of relieving traffic congestion and still getting people where they need to be.
What we're hoping is that it will help relieve traffic congestion. We want more people to experience this premium service so they'll get on the bus, on the vehicles, and travel to their destinations rather than getting in their car. It's a much more convenient thing. You don't have to worry about parking downtown.
With all the changes Capital Metro is making, there's one thing that will remain the same for students.
It is going to provide really good service for the students. It will still be free to all the students.
Capital Metro plans to keep moving forward, installing new routes in the summer and working towards a more efficient transportation system. Well, there's some important CapMetro policy changes you need to know about. First off, the 1L and 101 routes have been replaced by 801. Prices have gone up 50%, up to $1.50 per ride. There's also some new hours to be aware of. Metro Rapid buses now run from 5 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. on weekdays and from 6 a.m. to 12:30 on Saturdays. And finally, there are bus-only lanes on both Lavaca and Guadalupe. Just something to keep in mind if you're driving in the downtown area. Another big change with CapMetro, the launch of their new mobile app. The app is offered on both iOS and Android devices and allows you to plan a trip at your convenience. Some of the features available include route schedules, arrival and departure times, and ticket purchasing. The app provides information for all bus routes. That does include the new Metro Rapid services.
You can go to the App Store and download the CapMetro app. That will give you lots of options for trip planning, schedule information, and it'll also give you the real-time information for when the next Metro Rapid will be coming by.
So what's new for CapMetro? Improving Austin's rail systems is next on the agenda for the transportation company. The rail system currently has 9 stations from Leander to downtown Austin. That service runs Monday through Friday. CapMetro says it plans to expand on this method of public transportation.
We're working on improving our rail service, increasing the capacity on the rail line. We'll be able to double track in some cases, make improvements in the rail line so we can move faster.
We've got an update on the status of an extended Thanksgiving break that we told you about last week. Student government and the Senate of College Councils have both introduced legislation in support of making the Wednesday before Thanksgiving an official UT holiday. The University Academic Calendar Committee has now given that proposal preliminary approval, and the Faculty Council will vote on that proposal in April. Student Government External Financial Director Corey Rady says the measure has a greater chance of passing than last semester's fall break proposal.
This is a lot less controversial than the previous fall break measure because we're not negatively impacting lab schedules, and there's not too many moving parts here. There's just a couple in comparison to the previous fall break proposal. So this one is definitely looked at quite a bit more positively by everyone involved.
5 students here on the 40 acres are participating in a nationwide competition aimed at addressing the country's economic challenges. The team is just taking part of Up to Us campaign designed at educating, engaging, and empowering college students on the issue of national debt. Team member Stephen Vincent says raising awareness is key because everyone is affected by the debt crisis.
It's nice for us to kind of conceptualize and personalize it to show people what it means for them as a citizen and also what it means to them on their own kind of a personal debt level.
The Up to Texas team is competing against 24 other schools to run in the most successful campaign. The winning team will receive a $10,000 cash prize, as well as being recognized by former President Bill Clinton. Team members Joshua Tang says raising awareness of the issue on campus is the main goal.
I think the biggest prize is that Longhorns will have a better understanding of the issue of the federal debt and deficit and the drive to do something about it. Because really the projected problems with this issue are slated to fall on our generation.
America's national debt currently stands at more than $17 trillion.
A new tutoring program is helping journalism students here at UT. The Longhorn Center for Academic Excellence has opened a writing support program through the School of Journalism. Cassandra Jaramillo takes a look at how students can polish their skills.
Things that we talked about today when I talked to you one-on-one.
It's a typical day for journalism professor Robert Quigley. But for these journalism students, each day of reporting can bring them closer to upper division status or away from it.
I expect my students to produce professional quality stories by the end of the semester.
Some students struggle to maintain the high grade point average to move on in their major. But now, those who need extra help can visit the LCAE Journalism Department.
While there are several writing programs on the UT campus geared to help students write their essays, there hasn't been a program created yet to help journalists, until now.
Diana Dawson is the director of the LCAE Journalism Department. She says that her experience as a professor inspired her to create this program.
A lot of what we're used to doing is rhetoric, writing essays. And so you come into journalism and it's a different language and it requires a transition.
It's a transition that she hopes the LCAE journalism writing program will help students reach their full potential.
People to really achieve their dreams. If they come into the University of Texas wanting to be a journalist, it would be great if they could leave a journalist.
Cassandra Jaramillo, KVR News.
After the break, Cassandra Jaramillo has this week's forecast. And Cassandra, could we see more snow?
That's right, Chelsey. A winter weather advisory will go into effect
Things that we talked about today when I
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Welcome back to KVR News. After last week's frigid temperatures and wintry weather, we had a beautiful and pleasant weekend. Don't get your hopes up though, it's not here to stay. Temperatures are going to fall tonight down to 29 degrees. A winter weather advisory will go into effect at midnight tonight until noon tomorrow, as there is a chance of 20% snow and sleet through the overnight hours. Be prepared for hazardous freezing weather along with very windy conditions, which will only make it feel colder. Tomorrow we've still got that 20% chance of sleet in the morning before turning to rain later in the morning. Temperatures will only rise to the mid-30s at best. Wednesday will also be chilly, but sunny. We'll see a low Wednesday morning of 23, warming up to 48 Wednesday afternoon. You can put that winter coat away on Thursday, as we'll have a beautiful forecast of sunny and clear skies with a high of 67 degrees. We'll climb all the way back up to the mid-70s on Friday, and we do have a slight chance of rain this weekend, a very slim chance right now on Saturday, and a 20% chance for Sunday. So another day or two of the winter weather before we dry out for a few days. Enjoy the sunshine midweek before the rain returns next weekend. Live in the Weather Center, Cassandra, KVR News.
All right, thank you, Cassandra. Up next, we're talking Longhorn basketball. Rachel Wenzlaff is here to break down the success of the men's and women's teams. Stay tuned.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm College Press Box's Rachel Wenzlaff. After a week off, the women's basketball team prepared to host West Virginia in Austin on Saturday. Alex Wilkins is at the Frank Irwin Center and has more on the Big 12 matchup.
Texas women's basketball took on the 18th ranked West Virginia team at home this past Saturday. After losing to the Mountaineers just 2 weeks earlier, the Horns came onto the court looking to settle the score. Sophomore guard Brady Sanders said the players used that previous loss as motivation.
I made sure that I was mentally and physically ready for the whole 40 minutes this game, but not just me. I think the whole team took that loss very personally, and we wanted to definitely make a change this game.
Usual starting center Amani McGee Stafford was benched the entire game for an unknown coach's decision. To compensate for that gap, Brady Sanders, freshman Nakia Jones, and junior Nneka and Impali stepped up as the team's leading scorers, but looked a bit shaky at the beginning. Some of Texas's struggles in the first half could be accredited to Nneka and Impali's slow start, but she picked it up in the second half, and according to West Virginia's coach, Mike Carey, played as one of the toughest players in the Big 12, adding 15 points and 21 rebounds.
I just felt like, the ball's not going to go in every single night, and I had to do whatever it was that I know that I can bring to the team, and I know that I can bring energy, I know I can play with effort, and that's just what I tried to do.
The Horns are now 4-3 in conference play and will play at Kansas this Tuesday. Alex Wilkins, College Press Box.
The women's team wasn't the only one to enjoy success on Saturday. After knocking number 22 Kansas State with a 3-point buzzer beater on Tuesday, the Longhorn men's team looked to continue their Big 12 success against number 24 Baylor. Let's head up to Waco for the highlights. Late in the first, Prince Ibe jams it home to give the Longhorns a lead they would keep the rest of the game. Bradley Heslett tries to keep Baylor in it with a layup that cuts Texas's lead to 1. But Martez Walker is not having it as he puts down a 3 to send the Horns into the half with a 4-point lead. Early in the second, Isaiah Taylor speeds in for an acrobatic layup. A big defensive play now by the big guy Cam Ridley, who swats down Rico Gathers, showing why he was named Phillips 66 Big 12 Player of the Week. Cam on the other end now, putting in a layup. Taylor again with the layup and the and one. Taylor pulled off a career-high 27 points. Texas has a sizable lead now that's only extended by Javon Felix's jumper. Texas walked away with the win and the 3-game win streak versus AP Top 25 team, which is the first time this has ever happened in school history, which is pretty good considering Rick Barnes was in the hot seat earlier this year.
So Rachel, the team has a week off. What can we expect after that break?
I mean, their true test comes when they face number 8 Kansas next week. So I think Baylor was a really overrated team, and they were due for a loss, and Texas just happened to give it to them. So I think Texas has a really bright future for the rest of their basketball season.
All right, well, thank you, Rachel. Taylor Villarreal is up next with your entertainment news.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
Welcome back to KVR News. Well, the annual Grammy Awards took place last night and started in a big way. Beyonce opened the show with a steamy duet with husband Jay-Z, and boy, was it steamy. Following the performance, it was smooth sailing with many artists winning big and some losing big. Daft Punk and Macklemore were the big winners of the night. Daft Punk took home some statues for Record of the Year, Album of the Year, and Best Pop Duo/Group Performance. Macklemore and Ryan Lewis swept the rap category, winning Best Rap Album, Best Rap Song, and Best Rap Performance. Lorde was another big winner, taking home status of Song of the Year, Best Pop Solo Performance. And while Macklemore had himself a good night, he had been taking some heat from fans and music critics alike. Macklemore beat out favorite Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Kanye West, Eminem, and Jay-Z, with many saying his awards are the result of a popularity contest. Macklemore has sold more records this year than his competition, and even Macklemore felt a little weird about winning. Following the awards, Macklemore Instagrammed this text conversation between him and Kendrick Lamar, saying, "You got robbed. I wanted you to win. It's weird and it sucks that I robbed you." But winning isn't the only thing Macklemore is celebrating tonight. He and Ryan Lewis sang their hit song Same Love last night as 32 same-sex couples got married on live TV. Queen Latifah officiated the ceremony, with Madonna joining Macklemore in finishing out his song. Among the couples married, Ryan Lewis's own sister. Well, that's all your Grammy news. I'm Taylor Villarreal. Back to the anchor desk.
Thanks, Taylor, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Chelsey Pena. For news and weather updates throughout the week, you can follow us on Twitter at KVR News. Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television. Have a great night.